walkways are 8 feet wide on both sides of the bridge.
Project, huh?
Yeah, it is.
I tell you, I got to see this from as much as you did from day one when they.
Yeah, I know.
This is just. You want me to stand here?
The canoe launch is now paved.
Thank you for joining us this morning for the OakSpring Bridge ribbon cutting ceremony. My name is Barry Baker. I live a half a mile up on OakSpring Lane, and I will be your MC for today's ceremony. We're going to open the ceremony with the national anthem sung by Ann Baker.
Flags are on the bridge. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Ann. I would like to start by acknowledging the dignitaries that we have here this morning, and thank you for coming. When I call your name, if you could raise your hand so we can identify you, that would be great. Libertyville Township Supervisor Kathleen O'Connor, Libertyville Township Assessor Christine Feeney, Libertyville Township Trustees Carol August, Kathleen Dorn, and Terry White. The Village of Libertyville Mayor Donna Johnson, The Village of Libertyville trustees, Scott Adams, Andrew Herman, Matthew Crummick, and Kara McDonald. The Director of Public Works, Paul Kinzer. The Deputy Director of Public Works and Village Engineer, Jeff Cooper. Fire Chief, Mike Bacasta. Police Chief, Ed Roncone. Village of Green Oaks Mayor, Bernie Wasaki. Village of Green Oaks Administrator, Denise Kafkis. Lake County Public Works, Emily Carey. And Juan Cisneros. The Lake County Department of Transportation Township Coordinator, Scott Stalinsky. Lake County Forest Preserve President, Jessica Bolesic. Lake County Forest Preserve Executive Director, Ty Kovic. Lake County Forest Preserve Director of Planning, Kevin Clegian. Lake County Board, District 15, Jennifer Clark. Lake County Board, District 3, Ann Main. Lake County Sheriff, John Eidelberg. And Fremont Township Highway Department, Alicia Dodd. I apologize in advance if I missed anyone or did not pronounce your name correctly. But thank you for being here. Let me give you a quick overview of today's events. We have 4 speakers that are going to talk about their experiences of going through the OakSpring Rd Bridge Replacement Project. We have Dan Strand with Guwalt Hamilton Associates, who will talk about the process of obtaining funds in various phases of the project. Kathleen O'Connor, Libertyville Township Supervisor, will provide some remarks of gratitude. I will give a resident's perspective, and Marty Neal, Libertyville Township Highway Commissioner, will discuss the route to success. After that, we will move to the bridge, have a blessing by Deacon George Kajmar from St. Joe's Catholic Church, and then we will have the ribbon cut. Okay? So with that, please welcome Dan Strand from Guwalt Hamilton Associates.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Barry, and thank you, Marty, for inviting me to speak here today. My name is Dan Strand. I'm a senior project manager with Guwalt Hamilton Associates. I'll do my best to keep my comments brief and give Marty the full 45 minutes that he asked for on the agenda. Marty asked me to share a little bit about the process of design, construction, and funding coordination that got us here. That process began way back in 2015, at a time when I had more hair than I have now. The road district selected the team of Guwalt Hamilton Associates and Civil Tech to develop plans to repair the OakSpring Rd Bridge. Now you may be thinking that 10 years seems like a long time to replace a bridge, and I would agree with you. However, when the bridge replacement involves both state and federal funding, the process becomes much more involved and timelines get extended substantially. But as we'll talk about later, the value of that federal and state participation makes it worth the wait. Initially, this project was anticipated as a simple deck repair project. But in the summer of 2016, as one of the initial steps in the Phase 1 engineering process, a deck survey was completed that found the existing deck was integral to the structural beams under the bridge, and with the amount of degradation already present, deck patching wouldn't be possible. At a minimum, the superstructure of the bridge, everything above the piers, required full replacement. As the Phase 1 process continued, further structural investigation found that the existing bridge piers were not adequate to support the required superstructure improvements, so a full bridge replacement would be required. We were able to work with Marty throughout the process in coordination with IDOT to increase the funding available as the project scope expanded. During the Phase 1 process, there was an extensive series of meetings to coordinate the project with affected parties. An initial public meeting was held on September 13th, 2016, with a follow-up public meeting initially scheduled, unfortunately, on March 16th of 2020. That meeting was, of course, canceled due to the pandemic lockdown, and after waiting several months for public meetings to even be a possibility again, it was rescheduled for August of 2020. Even during these early public meetings, the support of the public that lived around the bridge was evident, and we were met with a lot of encouragement about the eventual replacement of the bridge. We also met with the Village of Libertyville, the Lake County Forest Preserve District, the Federal Highway Administration, and IDOT several times. We learned a lot about a small endangered fish called the Iowa darter that ultimately pushed back Phase 1 approval by about a year. But through the collective efforts of a lot of people on the project team, the project development report received IDOT approval on March 31st, 2021. After Phase 1 approval, we moved on to Phase 2. The road district showed its commitment to expediting the project schedule by being one of the first agencies in Illinois to request approval to use Section 1440 from the FAST Act to initiate the Phase 2 design prior to formal contract approval by IDOT. This proved critical as the Phase 2 agreement was not approved by IDOT until June of 2023, almost 2 years after its submittal. Utilizing Section 1440 enabled much of the engineering to be complete when the agreement was approved, which ultimately allowed the project to be included on the March 2024 IDOT letting. The contract was awarded to Dunnett Bay Construction, and the finish line was in sight. As many of you know, the roadway was closed and construction began in earnest in July of 2024 and continued throughout much of the winter as weather allowed. The bridge was reopened on Friday, June 27th of this year. Without going into too much detail, here are some of the key numbers for the project. The total cost of the project, engineering and construction, was $5.6 million. If you were wondering if the extended timeline of the federal process was worth the wait, I'll tell you that of that $5.6 million, the total road district responsibility after reimbursement of federal and state funds is just $235,000, roughly 4% of the total cost. The bridge includes 1,040 cubic yards of concrete, not including 1,123 feet of the pre-stressed concrete beams under the bridge. There was 183,370 pounds of reinforcing steel and 1,510 linear feet of metal sheet piles supporting the piers. On a 10-year-long project, there are countless other details and interesting tidbits that I've had to leave out, so I'll wrap up my remarks here. A special thanks to the Lake County Forest Preserve District for their cooperation, especially with regards to this property. Thank you to the property owners and residents adjacent to the project for your patience throughout construction. And again, thanks to Marty for your patience as we made this project a reality. Thank you. And with that, I'll introduce Township Supervisor Kathleen O'Connor.
Thanks, Dan. So, as I was reflecting on this event, I was taken aback by how the reconstruction of a bridge provided so many examples of patience, perseverance, community building, and gratitude. The patience and perseverance required for 10 years of planning, permitting, the securing of state and federal funds for the project to happen, and then the actual construction. The need for emergency personnel to plan alternative routes to respond to calls, the residents of Libertyville Township as they found different roads to travel. The community building that was beautifully illustrated for the annual Des Plaines River Canoe and Kayak Marathon. The Lake County Sheriff, the Lake County Forest Preserve District staff and Public Safety Division, the coordinators of the event, Dunnett Bay Construction, Gowalt Hamilton, the Road District, the event participants as they worked together so the bridge could be safely accessed for the event. On behalf of Libertyville Township, for these reasons highlighted and countless more, I want to express my gratitude to Marty Neal and everyone who had a role in this project. Thank you for working so hard to complete the reconstruction of OakSpring Rd Bridge within the projected timeline. A big thank you to the residents of Libertyville Township, and particularly those who live in the area, for your support and patience. We live in a wonderful community, and the reconstruction of a bridge provided another example of why this is such an extraordinary place to work and live. And now, we can all look forward to doing this all over again for the Rockland Road Bridge reconstruction project.
Thank you, Kathleen. When this project first started 5+ years ago, there was a lot of interest in the design of the bridge. Namely, how wide is the bridge going to be? There was a lot of concerns about pedestrian traffic safely being incorporated in the final design. Replacing a bridge is very expensive, as we have just learned, and it really is a once-in-a-lifetime event. Once it's completed, there are no do-overs. So getting it right the first time by looking at the long-term needs is paramount. And that is what our decision makers have done. As you can see, our new bridge is nice and wide with 8-foot pedestrian pathways on each side. And this really addresses the safety concerns of keeping cars and foot traffic separate from each other. Dan mentioned the funding models. Roughly 80% comes from federal dollars and 20% from state and local. So as a taxpayer, I really appreciate that money coming back into our community. And so that money, because that money was so wisely invested, you can see that long-term needs were already being well addressed. And it's also a pretty nice looking bridge, right? I also appreciate the way the project team managed the project from a communications point of view. From the very beginning, residents received letters explaining the project and the timeline, along with contact information for the engineer assigned to the project. This provided everyone the opportunity to ask questions throughout the project and to get those answers. Of course, many people who have worked with the Libertyville Township Highway Commissioner, Marty Neal, on other projects, I'm sure he got a few phone calls too. But I think the best example of communicating and working together, and even going above and beyond, was when the Des Plaines River Canoe and Kayak Marathon, which is held every May, launching from this very spot, was not going to happen because the site was still under construction. All the parties worked together, they found solutions for every issue, and in the end, the canoe marathon was able to proceed in May. It's easy to say no and move on, but that's not the team on this project. So thank you again to the entire project team and decision makers for all the hard work you have done to make the OakSpring Rd Bridge the best it can be. Thank you. I would like Marty Neal, the Libertyville Township Highway Commissioner, to give us the route to success.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Isn't it a big, beautiful bridge? Thank you all for being here. Barry Baker, thanks for taking the role as MC. You're a natural. Thank you for your kind words. It's an honor to serve you and all township residents. Ann Baker, that national anthem was powerful and uplifting. You have such a beautiful voice. Thank you. Dan Strand, thanks for giving an overview of the bridge project and explaining the federal and state funding process. As the road district's lead consulting engineer, you are a true professional. Kathleen O'Connor, I am so grateful that we work together. The township is fortunate to have you as the supervisor. You and the township board have been advocates of the bridge project from the start. Thank you and the township board for putting your trust in me. What is this Libertyville Township Road District? In a nutshell, we have jurisdiction over approximately 25 miles of unincorporated roads in Libertyville Township. OakSpring Road is one of 6 multi-jurisdictional roads we have in our jurisdiction. Between Appley Avenue to the west and St. Mary's Road to the east, OakSpring Road changes jurisdiction 5 times between the road district and the village of Libertyville. When you pull out of this parking lot and turn to the left, you're in the village of Libertyville. And of course, when you turn right, you are in the township road district. That, my friends, is why this is solely a Libertyville Township Road District project. I was appointed Libertyville Township Highway Commissioner in October of 2014. Soon thereafter, I started working on funding for the OakSpring Road Bridge. And as you know, it's taken over 10 years to bring this project to completion. How am I supposed to sum up 10 years of work in a 30-minute speech?
Good advice.
Just kidding, I'll try to be brief. All Lake County Township Highway Commissioners report to the Lake County Engineer, who back in 2014 was Paula Trigg. Is Paula here by chance? No? Paula assigned 2 of her subordinates, Bruce Christensen and Emily Carey, to be my advisors and point of contact at the county. I'll never forget when Bruce said to me, "Marty, be patient. This federal process of funding, Phase 1 investigative engineering, Phase 2 design engineering, Phase 3 construction engineering, and the construction itself could take up to 5 years." Of course, here we are 10 years later. Both Paula Trigg and Bruce Christensen have since retired from the Lake County Department of Transportation, and Emily Carey took a new position at Lake County Public Works. I thank all 3 of you for your guidance and wisdom. I'm going to take a few minutes to thank some individuals, municipalities, public officials, consultants, and contractors who were instrumental in the success of this project. Family first. Thank you to my beautiful wife Dina and my 4 children, Addie, Jack, Sean, and Joey, for being here today. I love you guys. For the rest of my family members that are here, thanks for coming. IDOT facilitates the bidding process for these federally funded projects. And as Dan said, the letting or awarding of this project was in March of 2024. Our estimate, our engineer's estimate for the bridge construction was $4.2 million. The low bid from Dunnett Bay Construction was $4.7 million. Houston, we have a problem. Where was the Libertyville Township Road District going to find another $500,000? We pleaded our case to Chad Riddle, the Bureau Chief of Local Roads at IDOT, and thankfully, he very quickly granted us the additional $500,000. Were they tired of hearing Libertyville Township Highway Commissioner Marty Neal whine about how long it's taken to build a bridge? I don't know. But whatever it was, it worked. Seriously, thank you to everyone at IDOT for keeping the process moving. Early in this project, we started working with the Lake County Forest Preserve and specifically the Director of Planning, Randy Seebach. Was he able to make it today? Okay. Though retired from the Forest Preserve, Randy unfortunately isn't here today to celebrate with us, but thank you to Randy and the Forest Preserve for working with us on the easements, right-of-way acquisition, and for allowing us to use the canoe launch parking lot to stage our equipment. The Lake County Department of Transportation has been helpful in so many ways. Thank you to the county engineer, Shane Schneider, and his staff, especially Mike Clemens, Kevin Carrier, and Tom Beneke for their assistance. The Village of Libertyville. Thank you to Mayor Donna Johnson, the Village Board, Director of Public Works Paul Kenzer, Deputy Directors Jeff Cooper and Marty Wittrick for all their help and support while we shut down this multi-jurisdiction road and reconstructed the bridge. Thanks to Fire Chief Mike Pacasta and all the emergency services for planning alternative routes due to the road closing. I know I thanked the Township Board earlier, but I'd also like to thank our former village clerk, Ann Hansen. Is Ann here? And I'd like to thank her for all the documents she notarized for the road district over the last 10 years. IDOT has a room full of documents with your signature on them. Thanks, Ann. Gaywald Hamilton was the lead engineering firm on this project, and Civil Tech Engineering was the structural engineer. John Vanna, the president of Civil Tech, could not be here today, but his second in command, Jim Ewers, is here. And thank you to Civil Tech for their guidance through the design process. Greg Hattlestead. Is Greg here? That's unfortunate. Greg was the structural engineer that designed this beautiful bridge. Though he's not with Civil Tech any longer. It was nice of Greg to attend this event, but evidently that's not true. But the other day, a Libertyville resident sent me a text quoting a line from the movie Christmas Vacation that I think sums up our impression of the bridge. She's a beaut, Clark. Greg Hattlestead, thanks for making us look good. I'd like to recognize a few people from Gaywald Hamilton. Dan Brinkman, is Dan here? During Phase 1 engineering, Dan and I navigated our way through 2 public informational meetings, and then there was COVID. which turned everything upside down. Dan, thanks for your perseverance and professionalism. I know I saw him because he's so tall. Kevin Belgrave, thanks for your guidance through the Phase 2 process and the maze of forms, submissions, reimbursement requests, and communication with that place, Illinois Department of Transportation. You are an IDOT wizard. Todd Gordon, Dave Marquardt, and Jennifer Beckman, though quiet in the background, they kept the project moving and on schedule. Jennifer, thanks for helping with the planning of this wonderful ribbon cutting event. I see him back there. John Zer, engineering technician. John was the resident engineer on this project. Day in and day out, he kept this project on schedule and was instrumental in keeping everyone accountable. The contractor, the subcontractors, and even the highway commissioner. John, you can be my wingman anytime. Dunapay Construction, the bridge contractor. Watching Dunapay build the bridge was a sight to see. And by the way, there's some storyboards over here that have quite a few photos of the process. I would definitely take a look at those. And as I said, it was a sight to see. Quality work, 3 months ahead of schedule. Yes, did you hear me correctly? 3 months ahead of schedule. On budget, and well, you can see the result. Thank you to Mike Grady, the project manager, for his attention to detail and oversight of the project. A huge shout out to Josh Bai, Dunapay's project superintendent. Josh put his heart and soul into this bridge and should be very proud of the result. There's just one little issue we still need to clear up, and I told you guys to get everything out of here, but it's sort of fitting that you left this behind. Josh Bai, I consider you a lifesaver. Don't forget this. This next individual is my partner in crime at the road district. That was probably the wrong way to put it. I think just about everyone here knows the road district's operations manager, Mike Zorn. And is Mike around here, or is he hiding up on the road? There he is. Mike is the hardest, can you hear me, Mike? You are the hardest working guy I know, and I'm proud to call him my right-hand man. That was really funny. Come on now. Yeah. I would be remiss if I didn't mention my dad, Paul Neal, who was the mayor of Libertyville from 1981 to 1988. One of the many administrators he worked with, one of the many village administrators he worked with, was Elaine Palmer, the former village administrator of Green Oaks. Elaine is here today and just celebrated her 92nd birthday on June 2nd. Happy belated birthday, Elaine. Last Friday, after opening OakSpring Rd to traffic, I received a call from Elaine. She called to tell me how proud my dad would be for building the OakSpring Rd Bridge. She said, the apple didn't fall far from the tree. Elaine, you touched my heart. Thank you. So today, I talked about the past, present, and now let's look to the future. Once again, through intergovernmental cooperation, the Libertyville Township Road District and the Village of Libertyville, utilizing both local and federal funding, will resurface OakSpring Road from St. Mary's Road to Appley Avenue in the spring, summer of 2026. Also, through intergovernmental cooperation, the Libertyville Township Road District and the Village of Libertyville, once again, utilizing local and federal funding, will reconstruct the Rockland Road Bridge. That project is slated for 2027, pending, I repeat, pending additional federal funding. I read a quote from Pablo Picasso the other day that really hit home. Our goals can only be reached through a vehicle of a plan in which we must fervently believe and upon which we must vigorously act. There is no other route to success. Plan, believe, and act. Success. Before we move up to the bridge for the blessing and ribbon cutting, I have two more thank yous. Thank you to the Lake County Sheriffs, the Libertyville Police, and the Lake County Forest Reserve Police for providing traffic control today. And a sincere thank you from the bottom of my heart to all the residents and taxpayers in Libertyville Township. Without your trust, faith in the process, and understanding, this project never would have been completed. I present you the OakSpring Road Bridge. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Marty. That was outstanding. I'd like now to introduce Deacon George Kashmar from St. Joseph Catholic Church. He's going to do a blessing on the bridge, and from that we will then go up onto the bridge for those that want to for the ribbon cutting. If it's too hard to manage, that's fine. Okay? So George?
So let us pray and bless our bridge. And from a wise man's mouth, it is a butte, Clark. Our help is in the name of the Lord. He said to the Pharisees, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." The whole law and prophets depend on these two commandments. All powerful and loving God, creator of heaven and earth, in the rich depths of your wisdom, you have empowered us to produce great and beautiful works. Grant, we pray, that those who use this bridge may travel safely with care and for the safety of others. Whether they travel for business or pleasure, let them always find Christ to be the companion of their journey, who lives and reigns forever and ever. Amen.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Would all of the Libertyville Township Board and Supervisor and Assessor and all of those officials please come up here? Also, is Mayor Johnson, did she come up here? So, first we're going to do a picture with the Township Board members. Then the Mayor will join us right up here. Probably need to operate those scissors.
Okay, now I'm gonna need your help to put down this thing. Thank you.
Is Terry White still here? Could Christine Feeney please come up here?
Christine Feeney.
How about Kathleen Dorn? Josh Bai and John Zur and Kevin Belgrave please come up here first for a minute, please. Mike Grady, are you here still? Mike?
Great.
No, I don't need the scissors. Hey, wingman, you're good.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. I didn't even know.
All right, thank you everyone for coming. It was an epic ribbon cutting. It was awesome.
Sorry.
Daddy was just with my mom.